So I have for you guys now the real reason why Tucker Carlson was let go. Or should I say the real reasons, plural, because it's a bunch of them that were, piled on top of each other and led inevitably to this moment. So the last time we talked about this, the speculation was, and I think this is fair speculation, this is definitely tied to the Dominion lawsuit. Fox News has to pay out $787 million over their election lies. But now you also have the Smartmatic lawsuit coming up, and they're asking for, I think it's $2.7 billion, even more than Dominion was asking for. And they're saying we're not going to settle for anything less than Dominion got, and we're also not going to settle for anything less than a full retraction and apology. In the Dominion lawsuit, they were able to get away with paying $787 million and just doing like sort of a semi-apology. Like, okay, yeah, we got some stuff wrong. So Smartmatic is asking for more, effectively. So, the argument a lot of people were making, and it's fair, I think there's some evidence to these ends, is that Tucker Carlson was caught red-handed in leaked internal text messages and emails where he says in no uncertain terms that I hate Donald Trump with a burning passion. I can't wait to stop talking about him. We have to talk about him every night. This rigged election stuff is crazy. It's insane. I don't believe it. And then in public, he would sort of play footsie with the position. And so with him, you could actually build a case of there's intent here and there's malice here, and he knows that he's lying. And so that is easier for Smartmatic and Dominion to use versus a host like Jeanine Pirro, who parroted a lot of this stuff, but may have been dumb enough to actually believe it. That is a defense in a court of law. If you're believing it and you're saying it, it's different than if you know you're lying and you're just maliciously slandering, right? So that's one of the things. Potentially, that's part of the reason. But now we also learned a number of other parts of the equation. So one of the other parts is Tucker Carlson has sort of leaned into some prominent right-wing QAnon-adjacent conspiracy theories. One of them goes after the FBI and the deep state for supposedly being totally behind January 6th. In other words, he kind of seeps agency from all of the people who were involved in January 6th and just makes it seem like it's a deep state plot, it's the FBI, and that's the end of it. It's a way to sort of say, the far right didn't do anything wrong, which is crazy. Now, look, you could argue there's like a tiny grain of truth in the idea that maybe there were agent provocateurs. The FBI has a history of doing that stuff, going after young Muslim men and trying to recruit them into terrorism and then catching them and be like, aha, we got you, even though we forced you to try to do these things. So there's a tiny grain of truth in it, but of course he massively overstates it. So one of his targets was this guy named Ray Epps, who they claim is, FBI informant or whatever, or FBI agent, and he was the person who led the charge and got everybody to be violent on January 6th. And apparently this guy just did a 60 Minutes interview where he said, Tucker Carlson has ruined my life. I get death threats all the time. And, I'm suing him because this has destroyed my life. The fact that he's singled me out and said multiple things that are just not true at all. So there's another lawsuit coming from Ray Epps. Okay, big issue, right? Dominion lawsuit, Smartmatic lawsuit, now you got a Ray Epps lawsuit. And now we also learned there is another lawsuit on top of that. A former Tucker producer, whose last name is Grossberg, I believe. She's claiming all sorts of, sexual harassment, all sorts of, Tucker and his team crossing the line over and over and over multiple times, saying things to her that are inexcusable. And apparently she has over 90 audio recordings of these things. Over 90. So you add all those things up, and from Rupert Murdoch's perspective, he's going, you're just more trouble than you're worth. And by the way, Tucker's views are better, especially in the key demographic, than anybody else on Fox News. But his ad revenue is not that much because he's such a bomb thrower. And so we've seen this previously, right? Fox News let go of Glenn Beck at like the peak of his powers. Why? Because he was too extreme. He was too conspiracy brained. And then you also see that with Tucker too. I mean, his most recent special is called Let Them Eat Bugs. It's about how the World Economic Forum is trying to do a stealth communist takeover or something, which is the idea that they're communist is beyond laughable. My favorite one was the whole taint tanning or butthole tanning thing where he did a special on like, here are the secrets they're hiding from you about your health. Rupert Murdoch is 94 years old. He's an old school conservative. He just wants his tax cuts and he just wants his deregulation. He sent out the order a long time ago, you guys are going to support DeSantis now. And then you have Fox News, Tucker Carlson, still playing footsie with Donald Trump, still flirting with the QAnon types. And one day, Rupert Murdoch woke up and he looked in the mirror and he goes, you're too much trouble than you're worth, Tucker. and I'm going to let you go. I have to let you go. 5 different lawsuits. I'm hemorrhaging money. Your ad rates aren't that good. And you say dumb things like talk about how taint tanning is a panacea for health. I mean, this is crazy. This is crazy. And so now they feel like if they dump him, certain cases, the Ray Epps case and perhaps the Grossberg case, there's not going to be nearly as much liability because Fox News can turn around and say, well, we fired the guy, so if you got an issue, go after him. Don't go after us. Okay, so those are the real reasons why he was fired. So here's an article in Media. Just how bad was the work environment on Tucker Carlson's show? Here are the allegations. As the media world continues to reel from the firing of 2 of cable news's most headline-grabbing personalities, Tucker Carlson and Don Lemon, many reporters and observers are left to question why. While the termination of Lemon appears to be pretty clear-cut, that after a string of controversial missteps, he continues to cause headaches at CNN, Carlson's sudden termination is more of an open question. Carlson remained the top opinion host at Fox News despite courting controversy and appeared invincible even in the aftermath of the network's $787 million defamation settlement. On Monday, insider sources told LA Times reporter Stephen Battaglio that Carlson's ouster was tied to the ongoing discrimination lawsuit filed by fired producer Abby Grossberg in March. While speculation regarding Carlson's ouster focused largely around Grossberg's suit, additional information and reporting from Mediaite's Colby Hall made clear that Grossberg, who never worked closely with Carlson, was likely only part of the story. NPR's veteran media correspondent David Folkenflik, awesome name, added key additional reporting noting, quote, I've spoken with 3 people with knowledge of Fox's ouster of Tucker Carlson. They say Carlson's digital exchanges captured by the Dominion legal team echo the suit of concerns alleged by his ex-producer that his show's workplace was defined by sexism and bigotry. Grossberg's 79-page lawsuit, which Folkenflik references, alleges she was the victim of abusive sexism and misogyny. Fox News fired Grossberg and denied her legal allegations as riddled with false allegations against Fox and our employees. Grossberg's lawsuit alleges discrimination based on gender, religion, and disability. She alleges that constant bullying and gaslighting caused her so much stress and anxiety that her stomach ulcers flared up and she was in excruciating pain. Now, by the way, let me just point out this because this is an important fact. There was a big story from a little while back about how the top producer for Tucker Carlson's show was outed as just an out-and-out white nationalist posting on Nazi forums. And so when you get that context, hearing that this was the environment there, it's not surprising. And it doesn't feel like, oh, she's just smearing them unfairly, because there's already tremendous amounts of evidence that it's a far-right white nationalist environment. And also you get massive, massive frat boy vibes from Tucker and probably his surrounding team. Grossberg was a producer on Sunday Morning Futures with Maria Bartiromo until last year when she moved to be a booker on Tucker Carlson Tonight, where she worked until her recent termination. Grossberg worked on Bartiromo's show during the time in which Bartiromo helped to promote false allegations that the 2020 presidential election was stolen. Grossberg's suit claims that Carlson's show promoted an environment that subjugates women. Grossberg also made headlines when she claimed that she was coached by Fox News' lawyers to give inaccurate or misleading answers in the Dominion voting systems lawsuit against the network. That is also devastating. So here you have somebody internally at Fox who was like, management at Fox was coaching me to lie for the lawsuit. Oh. Grossberg later amended her lawsuit against Fox and added an allegation that Fox's lawyers deleted text messages from her phone. Wow. The lawsuit says Grossberg gave her phone to Fox lawyers in 2022 and that certain messages between Miss Grossberg and Miss Bartiromo were missing / appeared to have been deleted. When she got the device back from Fox's team, CNN reported in mid-April, Grossberg also added Fox News CEO Suzanne Scott as a defendant in her suit. Fox has denied Grossberg's claims and insisted she was fired for releasing work-related tapes to the media, which one report says fueled a last-minute settlement in the Dominion case. So that's part of this ongoing case, too, is she's like, look, I'm going to release the tapes unless I get a settlement. That's what she's saying. And again, over 90 audio recordings of the stuff that went on behind the scenes. So she's got the receipts, man. She has the receipts. Just a matter of what she's going to do with them and how much Fox is willing to pay. And again, put all these things on top of each other, and you get the sense Rupert Murdoch's like, I got to clean house. I got to clean house here. So he's just a Mitt Romney-style Republican and conservative. I want my tax cuts. I want my deregulation. And when he puts out the memo, you're supporting DeSantis and you're dropping all the goofy stuff. If his people aren't following it, he's going to make their heads roll. And that's basically where we're at. Now, this is also interesting. This is a nice little twist in the story here for everybody. Rupert Murdoch fired Tucker because his ex-fiancée thought Tucker was a biblical prophet. Rupert Murdoch was perhaps unnerved by Carlson's messianism because it echoed the end times worldview of Murdoch's ex-fiancée, Anne Leslie Smith, the source said. In my May cover story, I reported that Murdoch and Smith called off their 2-week engagement because Smith had told people Carlson was a messenger from God. Murdoch had seen Carlson and Smith discuss religion firsthand. In late March, Carlson had dinner at Murdoch's Bel Air Vineyard with Murdoch and Smith, according to the source. During dinner, Smith pulled out a Bible and started reading passages from the book of Exodus, the source said. Rupert just sat there and stared, the source said. A few days after the dinner, Murdoch and Smith called off the wedding. By taking Carlson off the air, Murdoch was also taking away his ex's favorite show. So there's a personal angle to this as well. And this is from a Vanity Fair article. Fox Corporation chair Rupert Murdoch reportedly removed Tucker Carlson from the air over religious remarks the host had made during a speech Friday night. Quote, that stuff freaks Rupert out. He doesn't like all the spiritual talk. Like I said, the guy's an old school Mitt Romney style conservative Republican. Give me the tax cuts for the rich. Give me the deregulation. Give me a war hawk, neocon, imperialist foreign policy, and I'm happy as a pig in doo-doo. That's what he wants. And now we're talking 8, 9 different things that one piled on top of the other as to why he started to despise Tucker Carlson. And this is where we are. This is where we are. So he axed him. Right now they're doing rotating hosts to see who's going to ultimately end up filling in for him. And we'll see what happens. But I just want to point this out too. It's hilarious I have to even make this point. But there's one theory floating around like, bro, the reason why they got rid of Tucker is because Tucker's actually like a truth teller and he was like an anti-war voice on Fox, and so they had to shut him down, bro. It wasn't that long ago on Tucker's show where he had a guest on to say Americans should be sitting on thrones of Chinese skulls, and he nodded along in agreement. The idea that Tucker is anti-war, no, he's just anti-certain wars and very, very pro-other wars. All the bellicose, hawkish, neocon, foreign policy talk when it comes to China, he's right on board with that, man. He is right. And by the way, we've also had a number of Fox News guests doing the whole let's go to war with Mexico over fentanyl thing. So the idea he's just anti-war full stop or anti-imperialist full stop, I think is absurd. And even every now and then when he sprinkles in economic populism, he's a liar because he redirects all of that energy to support standard Republican politicians who are the exact opposite of populist. You can't act like you're a populist and then redirect support to Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis. The people who do the tax cuts for the rich. The people, Donald Trump has outsourced 200,000 jobs. There is no, Tucker Carlson's populism is fake populism. And in some ways that makes him more dangerous because at least other Republicans come more as advertised. Like, yeah, I cut taxes for the rich. Yeah, I deregulate. Yeah, I outsource jobs. I believe in free trade. Whereas Tucker postures like, who, me, bro? I don't even really believe in all those things. But I want you to support conservative Republicans and support Donald Trump who are going to do those things, and I'll act like these people are actually crusaders for the working class. Absurd. To pretend like somebody who was putting out this message, sitting on a throne of Chinese skulls. That's our anti-war hero, bro. If you believe that this is why he was fired to some sort of a truth teller, I got a bridge to sell you. It's beyond comical. Anyway, so this is all the facts about Tucker Carlson and why he was let go. And we'll see what happens from here. Oh, one more thing on Tucker Carlson. I forgot to show this graphic here. This is in Rolling Stone. Exclusive. If Carlson attempts to torch the network he's leaving, Fox News is prepared to release an Oppo file of dirt on the former network star. So Fox has leverage, and now Tucker has a very compelling reason to not burn the place down on the way out. Because Lord only knows what's in those files, man. Lord only knows what's in those files, and I know for sure Tucker would not want that stuff out. But it also shows you, by the way, just to be clear, like, this is how sleazy Fox is, too. Like, this is how sleazy Fox is. They're collecting dirt on all of their employees so that if they end up leaving, it's like, hey, don't you dare say a bad word about us, or you're going to regret it. So everybody's playing the game. Everybody's playing the game here. It's very I'm amazed on a daily basis. You learn more and more just how much the real world is like Game of Thrones. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.